College is supposed to be where you find yourself. For me, it's where I found my best friend. Or so I thought. My name is Zunri. I grew up in a small town, the daughter of a factory worker and a part-time waitress. Money was always tight. I wore hand-me-downs, worked weekends at a diner, and saved every penny for college. When I got accepted to State University on a partial scholarship, it was the proudest day of my life. I arrived on campus with 2 suitcases and $300 in my pocket. My dorm room was small, barely big enough for 2 beds and 2 desks. My roommate hadn't arrived yet. When she finally walked in, I knew we were from different worlds. Her name was Lily. She was beautiful in a way that seemed effortless. Long dark hair, perfect skin, clothes that looked expensive even though I couldn't name the brands. She had 3 huge suitcases, a trunk full of shoes, and a smile that made you want to be her friend. "Hi," she said, dropping her bags and pulling me into a hug. "I'm Lily. Oh my God, this room is so cute. We're going to have so much fun." I liked her immediately. The first few weeks were magic. We stayed up late talking, ordered pizza, studied together in the library. Lily was funny and kind and never made me feel bad about my second-hand clothes or my weekend shifts at the campus coffee shop. Then she started telling me about her life. "My parents cut me off," she said one night, her eyes welling with tears. "They said I have to make it on my own. I don't have money for next semester's tuition. I don't know what I'm going to do." My heart broke for her. The girl who seemed to have everything was struggling just like me. "It's okay," I said, squeezing her hand. "We'll figure it out together." And we did. I helped her find a work-study job at the library. I shared my meal plan when she ran out of money. I lent her my clothes for interviews. I was there for her, the way friends are supposed to be. Lily was grateful. She cried on my shoulder, thanked me endlessly, promised she'd pay me back someday. I told her not to worry. That's what friends do. For 4 years, we were inseparable. Through exams and breakups and late-night study sessions. Through her struggles with money and my struggles with everything else. She was my person. My best friend. I never questioned her story. Why would I? Then, in our final semester, everything changed. It was a Thursday afternoon in April. I was walking back to our dorm after a class when I saw Lily ahead of me, walking toward the main gate. She looked different. Hair perfect, makeup flawless, wearing a dress I'd never seen before. I almost called out to her, but something stopped me. She walked to the gate and stood there, waiting. A minute later, a black car pulled up. Not just any car. A Mercedes. Long, sleek, polished to a mirror shine. A chauffeur got out and opened the back door. Lily smiled and slid inside. I stood frozen, watching the car drive away. The girl who'd been broke for 4 years. The girl who'd borrowed money for textbooks. The girl who'd cried about tuition. She was getting into a chauffeured Mercedes. I didn't know what to think. Maybe she had a rich relative. Maybe it was a date. Maybe there was an explanation. I went back to our room and waited. She came home 3 hours later, carrying shopping bags. Designer bags. The kind that cost more than my monthly rent. "Lily?" She jumped, startled. "Zunri, you scared me. Where were you?" "Oh, just out. Shopping. There was a sale." "A sale?" I looked at the bags. "Those don't look like sale items." She laughed, but it sounded nervous. A girl's gotta treat herself sometimes, right? "Lily, I saw the car. The black Mercedes. The chauffeur." Her face went pale. "I saw you get in. Who was that?" She stared at me for a long moment. Then she sat on her bed and put her head in her hands. "My father." "Your father? I thought your parents cut you off." "They did. Sort of." "Sort of? Lily, what's going on?" She looked up at me, and for the first time in 4 years, I saw her without the mask. "My family has money. A lot of money. My father owns a chain of hotels. We're rich." I couldn't breathe. Then why? Why did I pretend to be broke? She laughed bitterly. "Because I wanted to know what it was like. To be normal. To have real friends who liked me for me, not for my money." So all of it, the tears about tuition, the borrowing money, the work-study job, all an act. I stood up, my legs shaking. I gave you my meal plan. I lent you clothes. I worried about you. For 4 years I worried about you. I know. I'm sorry. I wanted to tell you so many times, but what? You were having too much fun watching me struggle while you played poor? That's not fair. Not fair. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. You lied to me every single day for 4 years. You let me sacrifice for you while you were secretly rich. And you're talking to me about fair? She started crying. I didn't mean to hurt you. You're my best friend. I don't even know who you are. I grabbed my bag and walked out. I didn't go back to our room that night. I slept on a friend's couch, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of the past 4 years. The times she'd cried about tuition. The times I'd given her my last $20. The times I'd stayed up late helping her with job applications. All lies. The next day, I went to the library and did something I should have done years ago. I searched for her family. It took 10 minutes. Her father's face was on the front page of every business website. Hotel magnate. Philanthropist. Billionaire. There were photos of Lily at galas, at charity events, at family vacations in places I'd never dreamed of visiting. She smiled in every one, looking beautiful and rich and completely different from the girl who'd cried in our dorm room. I closed my laptop and sat in the silence. When I finally went back to our room, Lily was waiting. She looked terrible. Eyes red, face pale, clearly hadn't slept. Zunri, please, let me explain. There's nothing to explain. You lied. For 4 years. I know I did. But please understand. My whole life, people only wanted me for my money. I couldn't trust anyone. When I came here, I just wanted to be normal. To have one real friendship. And you thought lying was the way to do that. She started crying again. I didn't know how to stop. The longer it went on, the harder it was to tell the truth. I sat on my bed, exhausted. Did you ever care about me? Or was I just part of your experiment? Of course I cared. You're the best friend I've ever had. You're the only person who ever helped me without wanting anything in return. Because I thought you needed help. Because I thought you were struggling like me. She nodded, tears streaming. I know. And I'm so sorry. I'll do anything to make it right. I thought about it. For years of friendship. For years of memories. Could I really throw all that away? I need time, I said finally. I need to figure out how I feel. I understand. Take all the time you need. The next few weeks were strange. We still lived together, but everything was different. We were polite, careful, distant. I didn't know how to be around her anymore. Graduation came. We walked across that stage, accepted our diplomas, posed for photos with our families. Lily's family was there. Her father, her mother, her brother. They were elegant and gracious and nothing like she'd described. Her father came up to me after the ceremony. Zunri, I presume? Lily's told us so much about you. Thank you for being such a good friend to our daughter. I smiled tightly. Of course. We'd love to have you for dinner sometime. To thank you properly. Thank you, but I'm leaving town tomorrow. Job interview. He nodded, not noticing my lie. Or maybe he did. I hugged Lily goodbye that night. We both cried. I'm sorry, she whispered. For everything. I know. Will you ever forgive me? I didn't answer. I just hugged her tighter and walked away. I moved to a new city, started a new job, built a new life. I didn't stay in touch with Lily. It was too painful. Every time I thought about her, I felt the betrayal all over again. Years passed. I climbed the corporate ladder, made new friends, dated, traveled. I thought about Lily sometimes, usually late at night when I couldn't sleep. I wondered if she was okay, if she ever thought about me. Then 5 years after graduation, I got a letter. It was handwritten, on expensive paper, with a return address I didn't recognize. Dear Zunri, I know you probably don't want to hear from me. I don't blame you. but I need to write this anyway. I've spent the last 5 years in therapy, working on myself, trying to understand why I did what I did, and I finally have an answer. I was scared, not of you, but of myself, of being seen for who I really was. My whole life, people loved me for my money. I didn't know how to be loved for me. So I created a version of myself that I thought was more lovable. Poor, struggling, normal. But all I did was hurt the one person who actually loved me. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm just asking you to know that I'm sorry. Truly, deeply sorry. And that I think about you every day. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. Lily. I read the letter 5 times. Then I folded it carefully and put it in a drawer. I didn't call her. Not then. But I thought about her. About our friendship. About the lies and the truth and all the complicated space in between. Another year passed. Then on a random Tuesday, I picked up the phone and dialed her number. She answered on the second ring. Hello, Lily. It's Zunri. Silence. Then a sob. Zunri? Oh my God. Is it really you? It's me. I can't believe you called. I never thought. She stopped, crying too hard to speak. I got your letter. A year ago. You waited a year to call? I needed time. I understand. I understand completely. We talked for hours. About everything. Our lives, our jobs, our regrets. She told me about her therapy, her growth, her attempts to become a better person. I told her about my struggles to trust anyone after what happened. It wasn't your fault, she said. None of it was your fault. I was broken and I broke you too. I'm not broken anymore. Neither am I. Not completely. We started talking regularly after that. Phone calls, then video chats, then eventually visits. It wasn't the same as before. It was better. Realer. Built on truth instead of lies. Last year, Lily invited me to her wedding. Small ceremony, just family and close friends. She introduced me to her husband as the best friend who taught me what real love looks like. I cried. She cried. Everyone cried. Afterward, she pulled me aside. Thank you for giving me another chance. You earned it. I spent years trying to be someone I wasn't. You were the only person who ever loved the real me, even though you didn't know who that was. I hugged her. I know who you are now, and I love you anyway. She laughed through her tears. That's more than I deserve. Maybe, but it's what you have. My college friend said she was broke. Then I saw the car waiting outside. It took years, but I finally understood. She wasn't lying to hurt me. She was lying because she didn't know how to be loved. And in the end, that made all the difference. Not because the lies didn't matter. They did. But because the truth mattered more.